Welcome back to Myths, Legends, and Truths. And today I'm going to be talking about the black-eyed children. If you haven't heard this one before, stay tuned. But before that, like, comment, and subscribe. So the black-eyed children are another folklore, a myth, or some may say. Actually, the first person to report these children was a Texan reporter named Brian Bethel in 1998. According to his story, he was sitting in his car near a movie theater when two kids approached his window. He claims that the two children were between ages of 9 and 12 and wearing hooded sweatshirts. He thought it was odd, but he cracked his window open, and soon enough, the kids began to speak. They were asking for a ride to their mother's house in order to pick up money so they can go in and watch a movie. According to his story, the children were very persuasive, but every time he heard them speak, he felt a sense of dread. He said that their voices were mechanical and rehearsed. And soon enough, he made eye contact with the children and noticed that their eyes were black, just pitch black, soulless. So he rolled his window up. Again, the children were very persuasive, but he drove off. After that, according to his story, he just shared it with some of his close friends. But eventually the story leaked, and after that, he wrote the article and again came out in 2013 talking about the story, retelling the story. Since then, there have been other sightings. Other people began saying that the children have in fact been around since about the 1980s or so, but really he was the first to report it in an article. Now, some versions of the story say that the children showed up in antiquated clothes, but their eyes seem to be the same in every story. They have black, just deep black, soulless eyes. And frequently with some of these encounters, the people who have come in contact with them claim to have had nightmares afterwards or agoraphobia. Other sightings have included even death upon almost immediately after a sighting. I heard one story about a man that went to, basically he was in a garage. He was getting his car from the garage. I think he had finished working when he noticed the children standing around his car. So he went over to a friend or a coworker. I believe it was his workplace. And so the man drove him to his car, and he saw the same thing. He saw the children standing around the car. So they thought it was odd. They didn't interact with the children, so they just drove around. Finally, when they came back after a little while, they were gone. So the man casually got out of the car, got into his car, and drove off. Now his friend, his coworker that he had asked for help, went ahead and followed him along. The man was driving in front, his coworker in the back. Soon after leaving the garage, the man whose car the children were standing around got T-boned and instantly killed. And his coworker was a witness to that, being that he was driving right behind him. So, those are some interesting stories. Now, I don't have all the full details on the sightings, but I have another story. So, this one is of an elderly couple in Vermont during the winter season. So, their home was in a rural area. They basically lived out in the middle of nowhere. And oddly enough, it was a winter evening and they heard a knock on the door. And upon opening the door, they discovered two children, a male and a female. The children asked to go inside the house to wait for their parents. And the couple were very hesitant, but after much thought, they agreed to let them in. They thought it was odd that the children were out there alone in the middle of winter, but they felt sorry for them because they were still children. It was the evening and it was cold. Now, what was odd also about the children was that as they stood in the doorway, they did not make eye contact. Now, once they were granted entry into the house, they walked in and made themselves comfortable on the couch. The woman decided to make some hot chocolate to help them warm up, while her husband attempted to question the children. Now, the children did not engage in conversation, nor did they answer any of the questions. In the meantime, the woman noticed that her cat seemed afraid of them and almost pretty much angry with them. So when that started happening, when she noticed that, the children asked to go to the restroom. Now, finally, the woman made eye contact. The children looked up, exposing their deep black eyes. She directed them to the restroom and then turned to her husband to ask, did you see their eyes? And she noticed her husband looked up at her and extended a bloody hand. He was actually having a nosebleed. So at that moment, the lights went out. And from the darkness, the couple heard the children say, "Our parents are here," just before they exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The woman peered out the door, and all she can see at the end of the driveway were two slender figures. She waved, but neither one of them waved back. The children got into a car and left. Right after they left, the lights came back. Now, soon after their encounter with the black-eyed children, the couple started experiencing odd happenings within their home, which included finding one of their cats dead in a pool of blood, while some of their other cats went missing. The man, unfortunately, continued to have nosebleeds and was later diagnosed with cancer. So, overall, the theories about these black-eyed children vary greatly and also extend all the way over to England. There seem to be a lot of sightings over there. And some of these theories include the children being vampires, ghosts, and even aliens trying to get back to their home planet. So to this day, the stories continue, with sightings commonly reported on dark roads or outside people's homes. Some people have reported seeing the children in a dark corner of their room. And typically, once that happens, they go into sleep paralysis, or maybe the sleep paralysis comes first when they feel like someone's watching them, and when they peer over to the corner, they see the black-eyed children standing there. One thing that remains the same is that the children insist on being invited into your space, whether that be your home or your car. So with that said, I don't know what percentage of the sightings are with the kids already in the house, and if maybe these people had already seen them before and allowed them to come into the house, which is why they're waking up to, in the middle of the night to the kids standing in the corner of the room. But typically, what the common factor of all the stories are that you're in a car or you're in a house, they're on the outside and they're desperately trying to get in. So beware of the black-eyed children. And if you have had any encounters, any sightings of them, or know anyone that has, or any stories, we would be interested in hearing about them. Once again, thanks for joining. Bye.